It's shout-out time. WMCT-TV would like to thank our sponsors for supporting community media here in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa, offering services including extensions and keratin smoothing, coloring and blonding, precision cutting, and more. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa is located at 31 Spring Hill Ave in Marlborough, Massachusetts. The Coffee Loft. Coffee and community is their motto, as they serve up lattes, cold brew, tea, sandwiches, and pastries too. The Coffee Loft is open 7 days a week at 406 Lincoln Street, here in Marlborough. The Vin Bin, bringing you the best in wine, cheese, brew, and gourmet sandwiches for 20 years and counting. The Vin Bin is located at 91 Main Street in Marlborough. Author and illustrator Mark Martirosian, host of TV's Drawing with Mark on WMCT-TV. Mark is offering free downloadable activity pages for kids of all ages. Email pennyarcadecreative@gmail.com for more information. Leah Owen, marketing and business consultant. Leah's team members and partners share her belief that great organizations, from businesses to nonprofits and more, deserve to be seen, heard, and celebrated. From social media strategy to community events, this boutique marketing agency helps local brands and organizations grow with purpose and personality.
Hello and welcome to the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce City Council debates. My name is Michelle Mercier and I am the President and CEO of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. We are pleased to bring you this year's debate series. Our chamber is a proud supporter of both businesses and residents of Marlborough, and we appreciate the opportunity to host these debates. Before I get started, I would like to thank the City of Marlborough, the District Education Center, WMCT-TV, our moderator, timekeeper, panelists, all of them for their efforts in bringing you this debate tonight. Also, thank you to the candidates who have put in the effort into running for a chance to serve as your city councilors of the City of Marlborough. I'd also like to take a moment to share an upcoming event in case you are interested at home or anyone in the room. We are throwing a Veterans Appreciation event happening on November 6th at the American Heritage Museum. Everyone is welcome. Veterans can come for free, and we hope you'll take advantage of that. You can visit our website for more details at marlboroughchamber.org. And now I'd like to introduce our timekeeper and the Chamber's Government Affairs Chair, Emily Greenwood, President of EKG Networking.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. I want to second Michelle's thank you to all involved in making these debates happen. The Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Government Affairs host these debates to help residents make an informed choice. Early voting begins this Saturday, October 25th through Friday, October 31st at City Hall, 140 Main Street, and the Marlborough Biennial Municipal Election is Tuesday, November 4th. Tonight's forum is being broadcast live via WMCT-TV on Comcast Channel 8, Verizon Channel 34, and Verizon High Def Channel 2134, and streamed live through WMCT-TV at WMCT-TV.com. The recording will be available on the WMCT-TV website and Facebook/WMCT-TV following the event. Our moderator for this evening will be Jessica Pesch of Pesch Law Office. Jessica is our incoming chair for the Chamber for 2026 and was selected as the Rising Star Super Lawyer for 2018 through 2025 and voted the top attorney in the Best Metro West 22, 24, and 25 competition. She is a graduate of Suffolk University and is fluent in English and Spanish. This is her first round moderating for our debates, so we really appreciate her joining our happy little band. Please welcome our moderator to introduce our candidates and panelists and explain the rules to begin the debate. Jessica Pesch.
Okay, good evening, and thank you, Emily, for the kind introduction. I would like to start this evening by introducing the candidates and panelists for this evening's event. Our panelists this evening are Luis Thomas DaCosta of Modular Concepts, Daphne Phelan of Lucent Strategies, and finally, Julie Brown-Dahlbeck of Marlborough Wellness Center. Luis, Daphne, and Julie are all business owners in the City of Marlborough and members of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. So please note that for the purposes of the debate this evening, I will address all panelists and candidates by first name. Before we begin the debate, I would like to go over the format for this evening. First, for the members in our audience, you are only allowed to clap when a candidate has finished their introduction and at the end when they have completed their closing statements. At all other times, I ask you to please be courteous and remain silent. Candidates, you will each have 2 minutes to introduce yourself. In the first round of this debate, you will each be asked questions by our panelists. You will have 1 minute for your response and 30 seconds for a rebuttal. In the second round of this debate, each candidate will ask the other candidate a respectful question with, again, 1 minute response and a 30-second rebuttal. If there is time after our second round of this debate, we will return to our panelists for additional questions. And at the conclusion of the debate, all candidates will have 2 minutes for their closing statements. I ask that each of you please be concise with your answers, respectful of your time, and respectful of each other. Okay, let's commence our opening statements. David.
Hi, my name's Dave Doucette. I'm the Ward 2 City Councilor from Marlborough, Massachusetts, and I'm running for re-election. Thank you to the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce for hosting this debate and WMCT-TV for broadcasting these debates to Marlborough. And thank you for the people of Ward 2 who have supported me in the early elections, and it's been an honor and privilege in serving them. And I've been serving as the Ward 2 Councilor since 2016. I started working in Marlborough in 1987 at 200 Forest Street for Digital Equipment Corporation. Since then, I was moving around within digital at various locations. But my wife and I decided to move to Marlborough in 1992. My wife and I have been married for 36 years. We have 2 daughters, 3 grandchildren, and 1 more on the way. My grandson is now attending 3rd grade at the Kane School, which is the same school my daughter attended, so that's cool. My own education, I have a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering from Northeastern University and an MBA from Clark with Entrepreneurial Studies. After 30 years in high tech, I'm now working at the local Home Depot, and I've been there for about 10 years, about the same time I've been on the council. I've been close enough to go home for lunch, and if I'm lucky, I'll have lunch with my wife, and if I'm really lucky, a grandson. A lot of people in town know me as Dave from Florent. But I'm a geek who understands technology, business, and now local government. My engineering business background provides an understanding and perspective that's really needed on the council. I have an engineering degree, so I can talk to DPW. I have a business degree, so I can talk to the Finance Committee. And 9 years on the City Council, I'm starting to understand what are the good questions to ask, honestly. But we need to watch every penny, but in the same way, we can't be pound foolish. Elected officials really need to advance our community through the long arc of history. And I'm available for anyone in Ward 2 who has assistance working with the city. I've already helped quite a few. And the best compliment I ever heard from a voter is they like the way I think. So that's about it. Thanks.
Great, thank you. John, your opening statement, please.
Good evening. I'm John Ryan. I'm running for Ward 2 City Council seat here in Marlborough. I'm a lifelong resident living in Ward 2 for over 23 years. I live here with my wife, Elle, our 2 sons, our black lab, Molly, who's my campaign advisor, and 2 young cats who wake me up every morning very early. Marlborough has always been my home, a community of hardworking, caring people whose character gives this city its true charm. Thank you to the organizers, moderators, and everyone here tonight for the chance to discuss the issues that matter most to Ward 2 and to our city. Professionally, I come from the IT and finance world, where I built a career solving problems through collaboration and systematic thinking. Those same skills, listening, analyzing, and designing practical solutions, are what City Council needs to manage next phase of growth. I've heard firsthand from residents how difficult it is to understand what's happening at City Hall. With my background in systems and user experience, I know I can make city government clearer and easier to navigate so residents know what's happening and how to be heard. I decided to run because I saw that many incumbents were running unopposed, and I felt an obligation to step up and participate. As residents shared their concerns, it became clear to me that I could help them understand the city process and access information they need. Tonight, we'll discuss key issues that shape Marlborough's future: growth, road safety, and public services. But my commitment is simple. I will work for all of Marlborough and proudly represent Ward 2 to make our city government transparent, responsive, and focused on the people it serves.
Great, thank you. We're now going to move on to the first round of our debate with panelist questions. We're going to start with Luis with the first question of the evening. And this question is for John.
Well, good evening, all. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for participating and for your willingness to serve. This is the pillar of our democracy, and it's very much appreciated. So, John, cities in Massachusetts are preparing their budget, which will also come with tax rates for the next year. Our city has a split tax rate, which is affected by the number of businesses, industries, and commerce that we have here in the city. So considering that, what's your approach to residential taxes? What could affect those residential taxes in terms of being beneficial to the residents, not going too high? What's your approach in terms of, what's your vision? How could we keep those taxes low and affordable?
Right. No, it's a great question. As I did the research online, and there's some great information that's available online from the city council and the packets and the budget. What I saw was that a key drive, just like everybody else, there's inflation that we're all facing here. Costs are going up. A key driver, or a couple of key drivers to the tax increase, which is coming, is insurance costs, for all the town employees, but also, city services in terms of supporting the schools and so forth. So my answer to you is we need to continue to take care of our city employees with insurance, but we have to offset that with additional growth or income from businesses, as well as look for better solutions for us to use that money. Maybe, sorry.
Thank you for being mindful of the time. David.
Yes. So the businesses and the residential have different tax rates. So we have that ability to play to make sure that the residential tax rates can stay reasonable, or, and we can make the difference a little bit more if necessary to keep the tax rates good for the residents of the town. The issue, the benefit we have being in Marlborough is we actually have the lowest tax rate in the region. And as what was said, it's pretty much everyone's expecting the next year's tax rate to go up. We're still going to be probably below all the others. So I think in relative term, we will go up, but we'll still be low for that. I think we need to attract more businesses. We're having a hard time attracting businesses. We have plenty of office space. But we're just making sure we're trying to get the market more appealing for businesses to come in to the city. We've been successful with Moderna, BJ's, and others, but we got to see about attracting more businesses too.
Thank you. For our second question, I'm going to turn to Daphne, and this question is for David.
Councilor Doucette, nice to meet you.
Yes.
As one drives through the city of Marlborough, there are numerous properties assumed to be rentals, which are in a state of decay and despair. Poor siding, abandoned automobiles, unsafe egresses, deteriorating siding, which can be seen with the naked eye, and affect the tenants and the overall image of the city. Do you agree with this assessment? And if so, what role do you see, if any, in the Marlborough City Council playing?
So there are a couple of cases I know directly as far as that goes. In my neighborhood, there was a house owner that decided to go to Brazil and just left the building, vacant. So, and that was a mess. And there's many people involved in that type of situation, a truly abandoned building, because he's gone, but the bank is holding on to it, and the bank's from another state, and they're trying to get things going, as you know. So some things we have very little control of, aside from basically using inspectional services to go to the places and say, hey, this is condemned, this needs to be addressed, and possibly put in place fines for not taking care of them. In the same vein, if the building an issue or the location issue is part of a condominium, the association can come down hard. That's the easy part, you know, to get that in place. But I do think overall there are some out there, but it's typically an exception, not the rule.
Thank you. John?
Same question.
Yes.
Well, I used to own rental real estate in Marlboro, and I took great pride in keeping it up. But unfortunately, not all of the rental owners do that, and it's a tough situation. I know that there's some, you know, obviously building inspectors can come in but for me, I always try to look at the incentive side of it in terms of, is there a way to work with the building owners to, you know, convince them, give them a break and keep the property up, because Marlboro is a beautiful city, and it only takes one or two of these to really give it a sort of a bad look.
Thank you. Okay, for our third question, which will be directed to John, I'm going to turn back to Luis.
Okay. Looks like I always get John. So the city has new developments, and those developments are approved at different times and stages, and sometimes they come up to be built at the same time. And that causes, you know, like traffic and some disturbance, but they are new developments that are necessary to the city. So what's your vision in terms of planning the growth of the city and those developments going forward?
It's certainly the number one topic, especially last night at the debate. The residents that I'm talking to in Ward 2 want to know what the plan is, just like the question you asked. So what is the short-term plan? What's the long-term, the macro plan, in terms of number of units and impact on the flow of traffic and the impact on fire and police? They want to know. But my opinion is growth is important to grow our tax base. And sometimes it's just the location, as Mike Ossing said last night, is very critical on where these units are in terms of proximity to the exit and entrance to major highways. It can be done, but sometimes if those units are in the wrong location, it could have an adverse impact on the local road, and that's going to be a problem. So it's location and long-term planning.
David, response?
So I think as far as long-term plan, as you said, right now there's a whole bunch of construction going on, but a lot of these buildings were proposed 5+ years ago. And they're, as you said, they're finally coming into steam and getting constructed. And now everyone's looking at all this stuff being done all at once, but there's a momentum history to it. Going forward, I'm not seeing as much proposals coming out. I mean, for business opportunities, we have plenty of space. So I think anything we can do to attract businesses into the community is important. From the housing perspective, you know, Route 20 is finally done with the 3-lane crossover lane. We'll see how that works out, because that's very common in the western part of the state. It's really just being introduced to Metro West with us, you know, this 3-lane concept. And I've noticed some people get it and some people haven't gotten it yet, you know, so we'll see how that goes. And specifically, the one on Route 20 has always been an issue. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, for our fourth question for David, I'm going to turn to Daphne.
And I always get David.
You guys can split, it's all good.
Hiring has become increasingly difficult, not just here in Marlborough, but certainly it's a common topic for many employers across a variety of industries that does impact Marlborough. How would you help local businesses attract and retain new talent?
Well, I think that the talent that, depends upon what is the talent they're looking for, right? What is their background? What is their experiences? We have a solid vocational school in Marlborough at Assabet that, they should be working, and I believe they already do, setting up internships with other local businesses and stuff like that. I think that's important to get the early workers, high school. I think beyond that, if you're talking about, people with experience in colleges and all that, to work at Boston Scientific or in Moderna or whichever the businesses are there, that type of attraction, you have to get college education people interested in being close to or living within the city. And I think overall, Marlborough has incredible opportunities and capabilities for people who decide to live there. I mean, we moved in 92 because of location. Since then, it's just been a great experience, and it keeps on getting better with all these new services.
Thank you.
Okay, John?
I agree with David, but I would also say that when I see some of the buildings going vacant right now, what I think is we're sort of missing some of the IT tech that was in there to begin with, and the market is shifting, right? I would like to see more emphasis on a sort of a startup mentality and funding for startups, because that's where the younger talent is going from an IT and AI perspective. They want to be on the leading edge, and really getting some of the startups perhaps funded is, I think, what's going to really get the talent in and get the buzz going, because, some of the older sort of IT based companies are either moving or not in business anymore.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you to our panelists for the first 4 questions. If we have additional time for questions, I will change the order going forward. Okay, so for our second round, we are now going to move to the candidates asking each other questions. And John, we are going to start with you with the first question.
Sure. So, David, the question I had is, when I talked to the residents on Farm Road down by the airport, what I heard is maybe some concern about the industrial park down there, and they were asking questions about it. I didn't have the history on it. I did some research. So my question to you tonight, very politely, is what's your opinion on how that's all working out at the airport with the industrial park? Is it working? And what's ahead for the future of that?
Okay, so I was actually there was a proposal to put senior housing in the airport. I was actually supporting that, but that did not pass. Okay, so whether or not you agreed with that approach or not, that was what I wanted to see put in place. What they're putting in place at the airport, they're putting in place by right.
Sure.
Okay, they can do, as long as they don't need a special permit, they can exercise whatever activity they want to put in there. I think overall, aside from the big dirt mound on the front of it, which I was originally assuming that was part of the Route 20 construction, but it's still there. And I think it's going to stay there until they sell that lot, because they're saving that lot, I assume, is the last lot, because it's a premium location. Last time I drove down there, most of the lots are actually pretty occupied. They were going to be putting in a pickleball, but that hasn't started construction yet, but that's been passed through the city council. So, it's not a high traffic industrial park, but it is providing some income for the city as far as tax base goes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. David, your question?
Thank you. So, John, what do you see as the biggest issue that is facing Ward 2 and the city, based upon the experience you've had walking around?
I think, first of all, Ward 2 is a beautiful area, and the residents are very happy to live in Ward 2. Most of the time when they bring up an issue, it's very local to them, and I hear it from parents whose the school bus service has changed close to Kane School now, and they're concerned about how they're going to get their children to school and if they can safely cross Farm Road. I also hear that, the Public Works Department is great in Marlboro. With the C-Click fix, I think they do a great job. But there are some nagging road issues that still exist, especially down the other end of Farm Road near the culvert. So it's minor things. It sounds minor, but it's important to them. And they just want to know that they're being heard and that they're not being forgotten. That's what I'm hearing, David. Great question.
Okay, thank you. John, back to you for a question.
So I only had the one question, David, but I would say, I would be curious in your mind, from a city council perspective, because I've sat there and I've watched, and in terms of the way it operates, and it goes from committee or council meeting to committees and back again. Do you think there's a way that we could get more, not clarity, but for the folks that are watching this, can understand a little more how this all works? Because what I hear is sometimes it is confusing. Is the project in a committee? Is it going to finance committee? Is it coming back to, and there's various iterations. Do you ever think that perhaps there's an opportunity to streamline the process a little bit, or?
So good question, by the way. It's tough to work within the system we have. The city council works on Robert's Rules of Order.
Right.
Which there is a book with the umpteenth edition out there now. General Roberts was in the Army. He's the one that originally set up the Robert's Rules of Order, and it's just been replicated and everyone adheres to it for the structure. And basically, the council gets the decisions, they delegate the work to committee, and when the committee is done, it comes back to the council to vote. That's how the process goes, and everything kind of follows that process. Consistency is key, I think. The more you get involved in the council, if anyone's curious about what's going on in the council, watch some of the meetings, pull down the agendas, look at them. Right. The more you do it, the more you understand what's going on, and the easier it is to understand what it is. Because the city is actually very transparent. There's a whole bunch of committees, the minutes of the committees are approved every committee, every council meeting, and that shows how transparent we are.
Thank you. David, your next question?
Thank you. So, John, what do you see as your experience that would have the biggest benefit for Ward 2?
So my experience, and I'll expand on it a little bit, I've been doing systems architecture, which includes all aspects of IT, from requirements to analysis all the way to implementation. So what all that means is the way I look at problems, I decompose them and I challenge assumptions. And I want to help solve some of the problems at the city. And I think this experience that I have is going to be very useful and important for me to do that. And I'll give you an example of maybe an assumption that I would challenge, and you heard it as well. Sometimes the builders come, or the lawyers for the builders come into the city council and they'll say, well, this is a 2-bedroom, we have number of 2-bedroom units, but the expectation is there will be no children living in this building. And that's an assumption that I would challenge, right? and I'm not trying to be critical, but we need to be using first principle thinking here and challenging some of these facts that are thrown out because, the implications of making the wrong decision are very important. So that's an example. I know I can do the job, and I'm looking forward to it and using my experience to do so.
Perfect. Thank you. John, do you have another question for David?
I do not.
Okay. You can give-
Well, well, David, too, just, I just want to make clarification. When I say transparency, I would never say that that's intentional. In the PDFs and the attachments, the IT group in the Marlborough City do a wonderful job. What I am saying here is
I'm going to ask you to if you have a question.
I have a question. So
Okay.
my point is, because you're in IT as well, what IT idea do you have that perhaps that we could add to this series of systems that would help get this information out?
So I think that a lot of the information is out there if the people are willing to do the searching for it. And there's a trade-off that has to happen as much as how much work do you give the citizens to get the stuff done versus how much do you provide to them on a silver platter.
Right.
And if you want to provide it to them on a silver platter, that's going to take money, and everyone's trying to keep taxes low. So the more work that the citizens can do, and I do think we have to leave some of the actions to the citizens to pursue the work to understand what's going on in the city. And that's an important part of keeping the cost down. We just went through an overhaul of the website, which is right now very positive. I have misgivings on some of the stuff, but, that's something that over time, I think will get evolved over time. So I believe in evolving the platform and not significant replacing, so when it comes to software.
Thank you. And David, do you have a final question for John?
No, I think that'll be it.
Okay. All right, well, thank you both. We are now going to move on to additional questions from the panel. And joining us now is Julie from Marlborough Wellness Center. So if it's okay, I'm going to start with you with your first question to John.
Being a small business owner, my apologies for being late, I was actually working. Being a small business owner, how do you plan to maintain a business-friendly climate in the city? And we know the answer to some of the large businesses and how it affects the city. What about the small to mediums?
John?
It's the name. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm very pro-business. It doesn't matter what size of the business. There are many different ways that we can incentivize business. Just, the simple, maybe not so simple, but, tax breaks and incentives and just being able to put you on the list of and connect you into the local infrastructure, whether it be printing or communications or advertising or just having meetings. I know the Chamber of Commerce does this very, very well. But the networking part of small to medium-sized businesses is very, very important. Sometimes all you need is to meet that one person, and that gives that business a boost and an introduction or maybe some other type of service. So I think the Marlborough business community is very excellent, and I'm out of time. Sorry.
Okay. David?
Yes. So I think that where we are, and what Marlborough provides to small businesses is a solid infrastructure: water, sewer, gas, cable, electricity, whole 9 yards. You go to Hudson, you might be missing something because it's municipal water. You go to Stowe, forget Stowe, you got to do your own water, But in any case, I think that, there's some infrastructure here that attracts business at a fundamental level, okay? And it kind of makes it easier. So I think for small businesses, it's location, 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 right? You know, we're easy to get on the Pike, we're easy to get up to New Hampshire, to Cape from 495. So those are the benefits for any size businesses, including the small businesses. You know, I think that the networking capabilities that we have in our city through the Chamber of Commerce and Marlboro Economic Development and all those different services, they really do help the businesses as well. So I think we have lots of options to help with businesses, and it's really more fundamental services that are solid and what the businesses need to come, grow, and expand.
Thank you. Okay, for our next question, I'm going to turn to Luis, and this question is for David.
Okay. Councillor Doucette, in regards to planning for emergency services in a growing city, do you have a plan or do you support a plan to bring a West Side fire station to the city? And how would you suggest that gets done?
Yes, I believe in the West Side Fire Station. If I get into more details than that, you'd have to sign a non-disclosure. But that's about as far as I feel I can go legally with that. Okay. I think that, you know, that side of Marlboro has been sorely lacking for that type of infrastructure since I've been on the council, and I've been supporting it since the beginning. The Riker School, Richard School, is another piece that we need to get done as well. Even though that's more attractive to the students than, or to the families, not the businesses. One of the things I argued for the fire station before, we haven't seen the new plans yet, but in the earlier iteration, I wanted to make sure that the fire station was multi-use, so that basically the police department could have office space to file reports and stuff like that, so they don't have to go to the police station. They can do it from the fire station. And that was very well positively responded to. So I'm expecting that to be in the next draft as well.
Thank you. John.
So obviously we need this with the fire station. I'm a big proponent of the Marlboro Fire Department. One of my hobbies is listening to the police and fire radio, and my neighbor is a firefighter, and I spoke to her, and she told me that the number of calls they're on is double over the last couple of years of what they have been. So my hat's off to them. As far as the logistics and the budget, I looked, and I don't really know exactly what the issue is, but we just need to accelerate and get it done. And as far as, you know, the placement of it, I understand that the Holiday Inn is an option. I don't know if that's actually where it's going to go. I don't know, but we just need to make sure we get it done over the next year or two.
Okay, thank you. For our next question, I'm going to turn to Daphne, and this question will start with John.
John, what do you see? We've covered a lot of topics here tonight and issues that face that the city is facing. What do you see as the most major issue here for the city, and what's your plan to address it?
The main issue, well, I think we've talked about growth, we've talked about traffic, and we talked about schools, but let's talk about traffic for a minute, right? So there are some great improvements from Route 20, but my concern around Maple Street and people coming in into Marlboro, especially from Southborough, it's going to get worse, right? I try to get out there in the morning to get to work or get to the train station, and traffic, people are concerned. The residents of Ward 2 are very concerned about how they're going to get to work and how they're going to get home. So it's a tough question. I think we have to take a look at why roads like Farm Road are being used and Route 20 is not, right? So I don't have all the answers, but I think traffic on some of these secondary roads coming into town is a big problem or a big concern.
Thank you. David?
So there's a couple of issues. I think that for safety purposes, I still think putting in place the fire station on the other side of town is the most pressing issue that the city can address to improve the quality of life on that side of town, but also it affects the other sides of town because it offloads traffic from the other stations as well. So granted, the others, there'll have to be new staff and all that stuff included with the fire station. As far as traffic goes, I think that we should seriously consider doing traffic calming techniques, using the proper term, on secondary roads such as Farm, Cook, and that's just in Ward 2. We can talk Stevens and a couple of the others, and possibly even put speed tables in place. I've been advocating speed tables almost as long as I've been on the council. And if anyone's been on Grove Street in Framingham, they have 5 in a row, and it's no longer a cut through. It's amazing.
Thank you. Okay, and for our final question this evening, I'm going to turn to Julie, and this question will start with you, David.
Well, the panel has peppered you with a bunch of city conversations and topics. So I want to ask a more personal question. We want to know what your interests are. So what was the last series you've streamed or book that you're reading?
I have to confess, I haven't read many books in a long time. The last time I was doing actual books was audio books on a hellishly long commute. So, but I think that there's one, actually, the one book that I got halfway through and I had to put it down because I ran out of time. There's a book called Behemoth, which is about the rise of Nazis in Germany in the 30s. And someone gave it to me about 4 years ago, and I keep on thinking of going back and finishing it off. But that, honestly, all kidding aside, that was the last book I picked up.
Okay, thank you. And John?
Well, technically, if it's a stream like Netflix, my wife and I watched The Crown, which is a very good one. I really enjoyed that. But generally, if I've got some free time, I'm turning on YouTube, and there's some good golf related. Bob Does Sports is a good one that I watch, and just kind of just relax after work and that kind of thing. So that's what I do. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you both for your responses this evening, and thank you to our panelists for the questions. We are now going to move on to our closing statements as we've concluded all of our questions. You each have 2 minutes. Please be mindful of speaking into the mic so that we can hear you. And given that we started with David, we are going to end our evening with John starting our closing statements.
Thank you. Thank you to the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce for hosting this debate, and the moderators, sponsors, and everybody watching for taking the time to engage in our city's future. And a special thank you to the residents of Ward 2 and to everyone across Marlborough who's taken the time to share your thoughts with me, your ideas, and the hopes of the community. On Labor Day, I had the pleasure of walking in as a candidate on a Labor Day parade. I was a little nervous at first, but when we started up at Lincoln Street, I was struck on how diverse and connected our community is. There were children, parents, neighbors on the lawn, everyone smiling and enjoying the parade just the way I remember it. At one point, I stopped to shake the hand of a gentleman and realized he was one of my former principals from a school I attended many years ago. It was truly a special moment, and all I could say to him was thank you. He looked at me and smiled and said, "No, thank you, John, for running." At that moment, I realized I had made the right decision to run for city councilor of Ward 2. It is my honor and privilege to seek this very important position, and I promise to bring fresh ideas and energy to the table. Please remember to vote for John Ryan, Ward 2 City Councilor, and always remember, I will work for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. David, your closing statement?
Thanks. And thank you again for the Chamber and WMCT-TV for broadcasting and hosting these debates. These debates are actually a very important part of our democracy, and it's great to have the opportunity to speak out to the citizens of Ward 2. And I try to avoid political labels because I'd rather see people speak their own mind. They may call themselves one thing, but they talk different because they talk from their heart mostly. And, some Republicans may see me and call me liberal, and some Democrats will look at me and call me conservative. But really, I'm a progressive. I believe in facts, science, and education. I believe the best education doesn't end in high school, but it continues throughout life. And students need to be active. They need to work at their own education. I also believe in acting on your own beliefs and not just talking the talk. I got involved in city council or politics in general because my granddaughter was at a school where there was a shooting. And the biggest tragedy of that is that it doesn't matter which one anymore. There's been so many. But that's why I got involved in politics. I want to make sure the right things are done by the right people. And for the people in Ward 2, please vote for me on November 4th. Because democracy wins when more people vote. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to doucetformarlboro.org. That's with the number 4. And you can, I go around canvassing on my e-bike throughout Ward 2. Big sign on the back, so if you see me, you can wave me down and I can talk to you at any time. And the important thing to understand is democracy is not a spectator sport. And people need to get out to vote in the municipal elections because that election has the lowest turnout in the city, which is kind of depressing. But hopefully we can get more people to come out to vote this year because every vote that counts. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, thank you both for your responses this evening and to our panelists. So to conclude our evening, I am going to turn it back over to Michelle Mercier. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you to everyone here. That concludes the City Council debates for this evening. Thank you again to our participants, event coordinators, live attendees, and all of you who have taken the time to watch the debate on WMCT-TV. And also stay tuned for the next round of debates coming up around 7 o'clock tonight. And please check out our website at marlborochamber.org and join us for some upcoming events. And please remember to vote on November 4th. Have a pleasant evening, everyone.
It's shout-out time. WMCT-TV would like to thank our sponsors for supporting community media here in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa, offering services including extensions and keratin smoothing, coloring and blonding, precision cutting, and more. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa is located at 31 Spring Hill Ave in Marlborough, Massachusetts. The Coffee Loft. Coffee and community is their motto, as they serve up lattes, cold brew, tea, sandwiches, and pastries too. The Coffee Loft is open 7 days a week at 406 Lincoln Street, here in Marlborough. The Vin Bin, bringing you the best in wine, cheese, brew, and gourmet sandwiches for 20 years and counting. The Vin Bin is located at 91 Main Street in Marlborough. Author and illustrator Mark Martirosian, host of TV's Drawing with Mark on WMCT-TV. Mark is offering free downloadable activity pages for kids of all ages. Email pennyarcadecreative@gmail.com for more information. Leah Owen, marketing and business consultant. Leah's team members and partners share her belief that great organizations, from businesses to nonprofits and more, deserve to be seen, heard, and celebrated. From social media strategy to community events, this boutique marketing agency helps local brands and organizations grow with purpose and personality.